please do me a favor, give a very warm welcome to Dr. Priya, and I always mess up her last name, so I'm just going to say Dr. Priya.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for the warm welcome. Before I start, I really want to acknowledge some unsung silent heroes who made this event happen. Dakota's team, Abigail, Welji, and everyone in Philippines. Can we give them a big round of applause? They work extremely hard, and every week in GHL Playbook community, they make that community really, really awesome. And we've got virtual teams watching. My best friend Kylie is watching me all the way from Melbourne. Hello, Kylie. I miss and love you so much. I wanted to acknowledge there are lots of people in the back end for all of us sitting here. It could be our family, it could be our spouse, it could be our children who've made this happen for each one of us. So I really want to acknowledge my family, because of whom I'm here, 21 hours flying just for Dakota and all of you. All right, I've got a lot to cover and I struggled to shut up, so I'm gonna really go quick, okay? So as Dakota mentioned, my first keynote with High Level was at Saaspreneurs Sydney. My topic was how to launch, how to get your first 10 or 20 clients. And then when I did my second one at Dallas, it was all about retention. How do you retain clients? Because that's where the money is. So I thought the room has a mix of both the kind of audience. So I've tried to justice to combine both. So people who are starting out don't feel overwhelmed, and people who are already successful don't feel it's too basic. So I hope all of you get value out of it. So this is how it started. Who the hell is Priya? Everyone in the High Level world. I was in my little corner doing my thing until High Level invited me to speak at the Saaspreneur event in Sydney. And you can see Billie Jean looks tiny next to me, and my red suit was like, I was like, don't do this to me. So I was it's interesting how this one experience shifted different perspective in me, that I struggled to take a yes. I struggled to celebrate a win. So all of us go through imposter syndrome, and I think I identified mine with Saaspreneur because I struggled to believe, why did they invite me? Why? I know all the self-worth and different things. You can go spiritual, you can go different trauma and self-belief, but I want all of you to acknowledge that each of us go through different types of imposter syndrome and different levels of belief systems at different levels, right? Every different level is a different devil, and we all have to face that. So very briefly about my journey, I'm a typical Indian kid who only had two options when I was born. Either I'm a doctor or an engineer. And my parents did not even give me that two options. I was baptized as Dr. Priya as I was born. And I think I hated it. So like any other Indian kid, I lived to fulfill my parents' unfulfilled desires, and I became Dr. Priya. I did PhD in bioinformatics, which is a lazy Indian girl who didn't want to wash Petra plates and test tubes, wanted to work with algorithms and databases. That was me 15, 17 years ago in my past life. So my first job started as a university lecturer, probably the only job I did in India. And then I moved to Australia and thrown in the deep end with Australian punters. My first job was with Bet365, the betting company. Dealing with Aussie punters, where every sentence would start with an F or a B or a C. And I struggled to integrate, but that job made me integrate into the Australian lifestyle. So one thing I really understood after moving to Australia is time equals money, because in India, we get paid a fixed monthly salary. Whereas when you move to the Western world, the other side of the world, every ticking hour of my time had a dollar value. What do you do as an immigrant? You try to maximize it. You try to make the most out of it. And then you realize, damn it, time is a very, very finite resource. So I cannot be trading time for money. So I am a proud alumni of ClickFunnels. I love Russell Brunson, and all the marketing principles I've learned, and being a self-taught marketer was from the ClickFunnels world. And that was also another interesting observation. Your clients can love you, they can trust you, they can adore you, but it doesn't mean they're going to stay loyal to you if your product or services does not solve their problems or does not really articulate the benefits that it provides. So I love Russell, but I couldn't stay loyal to the platform for that particular reason. This was me when I started my One Funnel Away challenge. 30 hours I didn't sleep. I have struggled with sleep, you can imagine. I believe jet lag is a lie. And but one core belief that I have is one core principle that differentiates a successful business and an expensive hobby is the right marketing and sales. If a business does not have the right marketing and sales, it's just an expensive hobby. So I've always been interested in that particular element. And then I also understood I love talking. I love to talk, but I don't like doing the do, right? So I started hiring Indian women to do or help me to do the tasks. This started off with my why. So culturally, a lot of Indian women give up their career after marriage and children. And what happens, because they're not financially independent, they suck up to unhappy, toxic marriages. So I wanted to help such women back home. So it started off as a small pool of 5 women getting trained by me. I didn't know this whole thing called VA, virtual assistant, existed. I just trained them and I placed them with my clients. So that was my model. I do the strategy and then I've got a team to implement, and that's how it started. So fast forward to April 2024, where I went to Sydney for an awards night and I met my girlfriend, Hardy, who introduced me to High Level. I still remember the date. 26th of April 2024 is the day I signed up for High Level free trial. Okay. So I want all of you, most of you I've spoken to today and in the past, always have this one belief that I'm very new to this field, or I'm here for 1 year, but I haven't signed many clients. One thing I want you to understand, the tool itself is not going to do magic. Your transferable skills from your previous job or from your previous industry or from your education, when you apply it with the tool, it will fuel your success pretty quickly. So I had the core knowledge or understanding from ClickFunnels and social media marketing, and I applied it to High Level. So the only thing I sold when I started was Social Planner. I had clients that I was doing done for you social media marketing, and I brought 5 of my clients. I did not know $97 plan existed. I went straight to $297. So 5 of my clients in, and then from there it started. So I only sold that one thing because High Level solved that one problem for me. I also want to emphasize your ideal client is you 2 years ago. The problems that you faced, that you kind of overcome, you figure out a solution, that would be your core, like a hero offer that you can offer to your clients. So that's when I got introduced. So I know, Dakota, Andy, everybody believes in MRR, and he coaches me a lot about the MRR concept. There's another interesting concept that I personally like, which is a lifetime value of a client, right? MRR is really good when you have that monthly recurring revenue. But when you're starting out, when you're beginning, I want you all to think about the lifetime value. Get your foot in the door, like how Tinker mentioned, and then you can keep them for a longer period of time. I'm going to give you a case study to explain this concept. So today we're going to quickly go through, I love audits because when a client comes to you, you're not going to trash talk everything they've done and say it's wrong. There would be items or principles and processes that are working, that are good. You retain, you identify the gaps, fill the gaps, give them some quick wins, and then you try and upsell. Okay, so I'm going to show you what is my audit framework. I'm going to give you the retention blueprint that I provided to the Dallas participants. And also, I vibe coded an audit thingy on my plane on the way here. So I think my team has done a good job. I want you to check that. So it's not perfect. Okay, are we ready? Let's get started. Cool. Thank you. All right. So this is the Power Pivot framework. I'm a teacher. I love acronyms. So Power is an acronym. This is for people who are launching. Okay, I'm going to split every acronym for 2 set of audience. So when you're launching, the Power looks like this. You actually check the right product and pricing. Do you have the right product? Do you have the right pricing structure? And one core thing, all of us like, silver, gold, platinum, whatever. But one first thing I learned from Dakota that I liked it, a confusing mind never buys. So you've got 2 offers, 1 monthly and 1 annual. That's it. Okay, so that's one thing I've started implementing after becoming his student. So product and pricing, and then whether you've got a lead generation pipeline from the first touch point on the website, do you have strategies to warm them up? and keep them warm until they convert themselves into a hot lead and pay you. And this is interesting. You will not believe the number of people, or maybe it's a question to yourself, whether your online presence, social media platforms, your business card, and what you explain in a face-to-face meeting, are they all matching? Okay, there'll be somebody who'll introduce as a business coach, but when you go to the Instagram, it's filled with cooking videos, right? So whether your online and offline presence really matches your product and services. And then you will be surprised how many people do not have payment processor and ways to take money from people, because we believe people have to book a 30-minute free discovery call to actually make that payment. I mean, I saw a beautiful retreat in Bali. I just wanted to pay, book my flights and go. Guess what happened? The call to action was a discovery call. I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. I just want to write this off in taxes. Just come get me to Bali. So people do not give options to take money. So whether you've got a sales processor, whether you've got a sales process in place to take money from people, we can evaluate that. And then looking at retainer products, whether you've got retainers to get your MRR. Now this power, same acronym, but different things, we are looking at scaling agencies. When you're planning to scale, you still focus on the product, but in terms of retention, and then the offer itself, whether you have a foot in the door offer, whether you have offers to upsell, whether you have offers to retain, and then whether your workflows are helping you to retain your clients, and whether you've got different engagement strategies, and whether you repeat it without killing yourself. So these are different things. And what we're going to do is a simple exercise. After I explain every acronym, I want you to do a self-analysis and write down, so you can do this audit on the go and identify which area is missing in your business currently. So let's look at products, okay? I want each one of you to shift your perspective from thinking every client or prospect as a one-off service. Rather, think of them as a strategic partner, meaning you're going to become their strategic partner and you're going to help them grow. The more you help them make money, they're not going to stop paying you money. It's as simple as that sounds, right? So I'm going to give you an example. So this was my first big client. I think people have heard me speak, know this case study, but I'm going to repeat it because it's juicy and it's true. So I went to a ClickFunnels event when I was free trialing High Level, and we had a round table like this. There was a mom and son attendee. They own an ice cream shop on the Gold Coast. And they were trying to learn, and because I was in the High Level thing, I didn't do, but I was teaching them how to do it because I know it. And then the upsell from that event was an $18,000 done-for-you service that the presenter was trying to sell. So the lady came back after her meeting, upsell meeting, and said, Priya, I know you're doing some new tool. I love how you provided value for 2 days. I know you'll get to a stage where you will charge $16,000, but today I'm going to pay you $5,000. Can you do this for me? Okay, so across the table, I got $5,000 transferred, and she was my first client, $5,000. And I could not believe, because in the ClickFunnels world or social media marketing world, one-time setup fee of $5,000 was beyond what I expected back then. So that was my first set. So what happened after? We set her system up in High Level. And then once we set up a system and everything, we said, okay, we've built all the funnels and stuff. How do we drive traffic? Okay, so we can offer you a done-for-you social media management. So the $5,000 was the one-off setup, and then she paid a retainer. Okay, so she was on a monthly retainer, and then I've got these monthly calls with her to understand where she is, what we can help. So those touch points, you can customize it depending on your lifestyle, depending on how frequently you want to do. I don't do it monthly these days, but back then I used to do that. And then she was paying for a Shopify store, $2,400 US. And then she said, can I replace that? I said, definitely. We can build your website inside High Level. So there was a payment for the website rebuild. So there's the one-off setup fee again. All right. And then the retainer continues. And last winter, which is June in Australia, the sales really went down. So she was like, what do we do to increase sales? So we introduced something known as the picnic box. So we've got waffles and strawberries and chocolate sauces and stuff like that. So that's a new product we released. So we created a whole new landing page. We created something like a coffee card option, like a membership, club membership for her, and launch that new product. So there's a setup fee. And then, it continues. So most of the clients we work go on what I call as the growth cycle. Okay, get your foot in the door. You have one setup fee, and then you've got these monthly retainers. And then, like I said, they go to a different level where you identify an opportunity that you can upsell, which will make them see immediate value. So when they can stop that $2,400 US, then that's an immediate client win, right? So when they can see those quick wins and then they continue considering you as their strategic partner, then it kind of continues. So this client by now would have been an easy $50,000, $60,000 value in the time she's been with me, right? So I want you to just shift your perspective thinking from just a one-off single service to a strategic partner where you help them grow. Every client I have still has that relation, not every, but most clients I've got that relationship with them to sit down, brainstorm, find out growth strategies, and help them grow. Okay, so I want you to identify your product suite at the moment and rate yourself from a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being extremely sorted with your one-off services, upsells, and retainers. Or if you have a gap in one or more of these, you can revisit and try and see where you can work. So similarly, O stands for offer, and online and offline presence. So when someone looks at your profile, I'm so mad when so many different people think we compete against each other, right? One thing that's common in this room, all of us have access to high level. It doesn't mean you are my competitor, okay? And the best example is Dakota and Andy, right? There are so many people that feel that we live in such a scarcity mindset. Oh, you can't do this, I can't do this. But they live in the same city. They do stuff together. They grow together. It's an abundant universe. So, but I want you to understand in terms of offer, whether you have one solid USP, which is unique selling proposition. All right. If I've got 100 people in the room, why should I choose you over your competitors in the room? All of us are selling the same product. How am I differentiating myself? This one question, 9 out of 10 clients or prospects cannot answer this question. When you're marketing, your brand positioning clearly depends just on this one factor. I'm not even exaggerating. If you can find out how are you different from 99 other operators that use the same platform, that have access to everything what you have, that's your differentiator. I'm going to give shout outs to a few of my friends in the room who have done that really well. Okay. My own neighbor, Gary Caps. I said this in Sydney when he was not my friend, and now he's my friend. Okay. So Gary Caps, he's found the solution for SMS. All right. So everybody in Lead Connector uses SMS. There are some challenges. He found a solution for that, and he kind of rules, and he's really famous. He doesn't agree with me, but he's done really well. And, because he found a clear solution to one problem in this ecosystem. That's how he's positioned himself differently, and that's how he's been successful in that niche. All right. So my other friend, Timur, right? See the Go CSM. So that's a beautiful tool that'll help you all to retain clients. So he found that gap in the market where everybody has access to 100 sub accounts, 100 clients, but how happy are they? How can I score the happiness of my clients? So he found that need for that market, and he actually positioned himself well in that market, right? RepStack, Athar, for example. So they found a huge gap in the market about recruitment, right? So they found a solution in the same high-level ecosystem. So though you've got 20 different stalls in Dallas, each of them have their unique positioning, still using the same tool. So when you walk into a room and you see different people still having access to the same platform, please do not see them as competitors. Find your unique selling proposition. You and I can do the same thing, but people want to do business with me because they know, like, and trust me. okay? But I might not be for everybody, right? So someone else might like you, your energy and the way you present yourself. So that is your USP. If you can't find a tangible USP, you are your USP. There's only one of you, right? So I want you to embrace that uniqueness in you and find out that that is my USP, and I'm going to go with that positioning. All right. So that's very important. So I want you to find out if your current offer that you have is a no-brainer. Do you have that positioning, unique positioning in the market? So the pain point, like I said, our ideal client is us 2 years ago. So when I launched this new brand called HL Growth Partner, my clear pain point was I struggled to find, like most of you, one unicorn VA that can do everything, right? So I had one guy who will just do graphics for me. I had one guy who would just do video editing. I had one guy who can really do pretty funnels, but he could not do automation. So I had to have automation. So when my monthly expenses were high, I could not fire anyone because I needed everybody. So I came up with this concept called growth pods. You don't have one unicorn VA. So you can pick and choose your pods, your teams. And if you just need those 2 people, just hire those 2 people, right? But because you need those 2 or 3 specialities to win. So that is how I've tried to position myself differently from the rest of the world, where people are doing different types of support. So high level support or anything backend, it's a huge, vast market. You can become as creative as you want, but what problem you have solved for yourself will become your hero product. So that's what has become for me. All right, next is workflow. We're going to look at how having these multiple touch points is important. How you've heard about the 7, 11, 9 concept of Google. Yeah, you need all these 11 touch points on 7 different platforms and different things. So it feels very, anxious to have those multiple touch points on multiple platforms. I'm present everywhere except TikTok. I don't do stupid dance. But how do I achieve these multiple touch points? Pretty simple if you have your workflows right. So I'm going to give you some examples of what we do for clients. So when we do social media management, we do a monthly calendar for the clients. So every 21st of every month, we've got a reminder or a email that goes to a client personalized. Hey, hope you're well, whatever. The team is working on the next month's content. Is there a specific day you want a particular post to go out? Is there a specific offer you're launching? So whatever the client is doing, the marketing has to match that, right? So we try and do that every month so they know the client feels seen and heard, okay? And they start thinking about their next month's activities and they respond to that, and then my team takes care from there. Industry specific, we work with a lot of allied health and real estate industries, and there are different country-based content calendar we have. If it's an Are You OK Day, World Donut Day, Ice Cream Day, whatever day. So we also have the specific content calendars that go out for specific industries. That is also completely automated depending on the month and day. Like I said, the strategic growth sessions with clients will really help you with engagement and retention. So the more touch points you have without killing yourself, okay? But because I don't like to trade time for money. So it's impossible for me now to get on a one-on-one call with every client. But how do I do that? Right now, I do office hours on Friday for my clients to just come in, ask questions, have that engagement. I've got another thing which worked really, really well for me that I'm going to show you. But I want you to audit whether your current workflow system helps you to build that relationship with client regarding their services and products. Because the next thing what we're going to see is non-salesy, okay? So your workflows and the things that you do, whether it is nurturing them to retain them for a longer period of time. The next one is engagement. So we can send workflows regarding their appointment reminders and the social media stuff I spoke about, but people like to engage and know what's happening. That is not business, okay? That is partially business, I would say. So my primary source of lead gen is Instagram stories. My engagement on my post is shared, but my stories blow up. And for the past 4 years-ish, I would say I've been consistent with my Instagram stories. That's my primary source of lead gen. My second lead gen right now is my newsletter. I do a weekly newsletter, Monday morning, 9 a.m. Which weirdo sends out a newsletter? Me, right? I've made it a point because Monday morning, 9, I send them so they can plan their week accordingly. Because when you send out a newsletter, I don't believe in newsletters that just scream something that is not valuable. It's just an update. Okay, I don't like such newsletters. So my Monday morning newsletter has 2 paragraphs where I call peacocking. I peacock about myself. I tell them what I do. I show off. I like to show off. So I tell them, this is what I do, good, bad, and ugly. And that kind of builds that relationship and trust with people. And that's also an opportunity for you to tell to your clients what you're working currently. If something is happening new in the AI world, I mention it, I plug it in a very non-salesy approach. So once they read that email, they were like, oh, Priya, I saw your email. You mentioned something about this AI thing. Can we get on a call? And any calls booked through my newsletter attendees, it's a 100% close rate because I don't have to sell. They're just calling and booking that call to check the fit, if that's the right fit for the industry and whether that will work for them and what's the pricing. So if you can, even weekly might be hard, but try doing a monthly or whatever newsletter works for you. So in that newsletter, after the 2 paragraphs of peacocking, I actually have value for the readers, which is events that happen. Most of my readers are from Australia. So events that happen across Australia in person and online, business grants that are open, business awards that are open. So all of these are value for them, right? So when I did the TEDx talk, people started asking, how can I do TEDx talk? So I've compiled some information about TEDx stuff that people can go and apply for TEDx opportunities that are open. So your ideal client will tell you what information they want to hear from you. They will clearly tell you what they want. You just have to actively listen to what they're saying. So that's my next, the pillar, which is engagement, which is E. So the workflow is very specific to your business where they get value for what they pay for. That's an opportunity for you to upsell them. Engagement is a non-salesy, trust-building, authority-building content. That's the difference between the two. They can still run on automation. Okay, right now, I've got a Claude skill set for my newsletter. So all I do is record a voice note, whatever happened this week, and I put that voice note into Claude. It formats it into my newsletter in my voice, in my brand style, whatever. And my team copies it, they put it into the template and they send it. So it doesn't have to be hard, but I still like to keep everything kind of human-led AI approach. That's a personal choice and decision. All right. All right. The next one is retain. So a lot of people struggle with churn, right? So identifying why they churn, when they churn. I am not very analytical or numbers driven, data driven. I don't even go into my numbers and check. But what I do really well is understand the gaps. So this is the audit report we work with clients when they come on board, and we identify what are the different gaps, what are the different opportunities. You as a provider, I believe, should give them that bird's eye view, should give them that bigger picture, bigger vision of possibility for them. Because they can only say, most of you, I know, will come and ask, I need a funnel. I need to launch a course. Okay, it's not a funnel or a course. There's so much that should happen before they launch a funnel. There's so much that should happen after. So that's why I personally do all the strategy sessions. And this is what we map after I finish the strategy session. So we break it down into different phases. And obviously, you can't price and charge them for the entire phase, but you've given them the vision. All right, you've told them that you're only looking at the first step, which is good. That's what we're going to execute to get you some quick wins. However, I want you to know that there are different phases that can help you to grow and that can help you to scale. So your job or your responsibility is to give them that bigger vision, and they can pick and choose different phases what they want to do. So this audit is very successful in identifying the gaps, and I'm going to give you a version that you can do it yourself, but this is the fancy one that I like doing. Okay, so that's kind of the framework that I wanted to touch upon to understand what is your gap. I wanted to do it as an exercise, but because we didn't have time, I didn't want to go over time. One thing I value is time. So you can take this link. There's nothing to sell. I've got this audit, which is a fancy vibe coded thing that has 100 questions. You can choose 2 options. If you're launching, you click launch. That's got specific 100 questions for agencies that are just launching. And based on the POWER acronym, there are the other side, if you're choosing I'm scaling, then there are a different set of questions. And then there's 100, it's not mandatory. You can click and choose which ones you want. And then it'll give you a pretty report, a PDF to tell you what are the major things that you need to work on, what are the blind spots. And I think it'll give you a call if you want to book a call with me. But that's about it. That's just like more like blind spot analysis. This was the resource I gave for Level Up attendees. It's completely free. It's got the 30-day retention blueprint with email, email copies and everything that you can get. If you're struggling with retention, that's a good resource to have. And I've had very good feedback from Level Up attendees for this particular thing. That's about it. 3 key takeaways is always do a self-audit, or if you are a provider, do a gap analysis for your clients. Help them see the bigger vision. Give them quick wins. Auditing always helps. Give them quick wins. Always get your foot in the door with whatever offers, and then have an upsell. That's where you make money, and have a retainer. That's where you get MRR. But when you focus on MRR, try bringing the lifetime value into the picture. So you're not seeing yourself as a one-off service provider, but you're looking at them as a strategic partner. So I like to say thank you in my language, which is very close to my heart, Nandri.